Hello there everyone, John here from Gaming in the Wild, and I've got a really interesting game to talk about with you today. It's a little indie game called Spilled by a first-time solo developer. It's out on Steam right now. You can pick it up for just $5 and you can finish it in 1 hour. And in this world of 50-hour RPGs that are really heavy and take up all your brain space, like the wonderful Claire Obscure, my review of that is online now by the way, sometimes you need a little palate cleanser, something to just get you through the come down of a big game. And I think that Spilled is the perfect game for that kind of thing. It also has an adorable solo dev story that I will share with you in this review. If you enjoy the video, please give it a like. You can sub to the channel for more like this, and I will tell you about the channel's Patreon and all of the perks that you can get at the end. And with that, let's get into it and talk about Spilled. So as I was saying, Spilled is a solo developer game made by a single developer, and it has a really unusual and really interesting development story. It was made by Lente, a 23-year-old solo developer from the Netherlands. She renovated a houseboat to live on in order to spend more of her time on game development. I've had some friends in London who tried that actually, that looked at like property websites, realized the only thing they could afford was a canal boat. They couldn't afford to buy anything else, and so they did that and lived that lifestyle. Lente did that in order to further her game development career, and as if the story could be any more adorable, she did it with her mum as well. The game that she made is a boat game too, so it all ties together. Spilled is a game where you play as a little tugboat with a big snowplow type thing on the front. It has a top-down, slightly isometric kind of view, and it's a game about cleanup. It's a game about ocean cleanup, waterway cleanup. There is oil floating in the water that you can scoop up by moving over it until your oil tank is full. You then truck over to a little recycling facility and drop off your oil. You can also gather up floating garbage like drink cups and straws and beach balls, and then clumsily shepherd that using your plow back to that recycling facility where you will be paid for all the oil and trash you have. But you can only push so much trash with your little plow. Like imagine that you're coming back from the supermarket with 10 bags of shopping and you kind of have to make a decision. Like, do I hang a bag from every elbow and finger that is available and try and bang my way up the stairs into my apartment with all of those bags, or do I do it smoothly in 2 trips, which obviously take longer? You kind of have to make that same decision in Spilled when you are gathering up the trash. I'm a one-go kind of person usually, both in life and in this game, which did result in floaters everywhere that I had to go and collect later. But you know, you make your choices and you live with them. With the money that you earn from taking oil and trash to the recycling, you can power up your ship in various ways. There are 3 ways to power up your ship. You can have more oil tank capacity, which means that you can be out in the pools for longer before you have to go back to that recycling facility, which is really helpful. My early favorite was to enlarge the ship's plow so I could pick up more oil and trash at one time, and I found that really satisfying, so that was my early game favorite, along with the speed boost, which is obviously really helpful for moving around in this game, especially because the ship is a little sluggish when you first start out. It doesn't feel great initially, but you quickly realize that that is by design, and that by powering up your ship, it will soon be powering around in no time at all. It becomes much more maneuverable, much more satisfying to use, and I think that made for a really interesting and fun little game loop. You go out, you get oil, you get trash, you recycle, you power up your ship, you go out and do it again. There is progression because the game is divided up into 8 areas of small pools and rivers, and when you complete a certain portion of an area, a gate opens up to the next. I think it might be when you've gotten all of the oil or something like that, but you can also go for 100% on each area, and they are quite small, so it's quite an attainable platinum trophy, I would say, and I found it very satisfying to do. It was fun to open up the next area, but it was extra fun to really feel like you've done that power wash simulator, cleaning everything feeling. And especially because as you clear oil, as you gather trash, the water stops being dirty and opaque and brown and nasty, and it becomes blue. It becomes gleaming and transparent, and suddenly you can see the sea life and the ocean floor. You can see the fish and turtles and even whales. You can see all of that underwater seaweed swaying in the water. So what was once a dirty brown pool becomes a glistening blue, transparent, tranquil paradise, which is really satisfying to do. There are also a few extras, like you can save wildlife that is stuck in oil. There's a certain amount of animals to collect. You can do miniature side quests like pushing a beach ball from like a little alcove to someone who wants it. It's all very concise, it's all very small scale, no complicated quest logs. It's kind of easy breezy, you can hold it all in your head, you can play it while you've got one eye on another screen. And I really enjoyed that about this game. Very concise, it doesn't mess with you, it doesn't waste your time. It's like a short hike adjacent little boat game, and really fun one at that. And this game obviously falls into the category of eco games. This is an area that I'm very interested in, and I'm 1000% here for. When I used to work in games for a couple of years, I was working for a company that ran like an online server, like Roblox-y style, where people make their own games and let other people play them. And as part of my role, I did a little bit of an investigation into how to make the company I was at more eco-friendly, or to align with what the world was asking of games companies. So I did a little bit of investigation and I found some interesting answers. The UN runs a program called Playing for the Planet. This is an initiative that issues guidelines to game makers and that game makers give money to keep it all running. They organize game jams and that kind of thing. But the main impact that they wanted from games was the cultural impact. That was what they felt was the most valuable aspect of games. Games containing environmental messaging, games containing environmental mechanics, and incentivizing ecologically conscious actions is what they thought was the biggest impact that games could have on the world. It wasn't anything like doing better recycling, although that might matter for a company the size of Ubisoft or Xbox or whatever. For most studios that doesn't matter. But what the UNEP, their research has come up with is that changing the minds of people is the real battleground where games can have the biggest impact. I found that really interesting. They described it as environmental activations, where you're instilling in the player a will to think better of the environment around you. I felt a little bit conflicted about that at the time, because we've spent so much time saying, like, if you play Grand Theft Auto, you don't go out and shoot people. And so if you play Spilled, do you then go out and clean up the ocean? No. So it feels like a bit of a soft, woolly outcome for me, and kind of conflicting with what we've previously said about how game actions affect people in their lives. But, the UNEP has done the research here, and if slowly changing the minds or evolving the thinking of gamer culture over time is what they think is best, then I think the people that work in games would do well to at least, at the bare minimum, do that, because games are often so extractive and destructive. They're often about gathering resources, crafting, killing for animal skins and bones that you then use to make better weapons to kill some more. And whilst that is very fun, I do love and support games that are about other things, that just let you do other things, that formulate the world differently to that extractive mindset. It's why I loved Terra Nil, and why it hit my Games of the Year list. It's why I think Alba, a wildlife adventure, gave me such joy to play. These are games that give you different verbs. You can express yourself differently, the aims are different, and they invent and incentivize other forms of action than extraction and destruction. I think fewer games do that better than Ultros, which was such a mind-blowing experience where you kind of become one with an ecosystem. And it's why I'm so excited about the game All Will Rise, a game about building legal arguments for environmental action in court. Fascinating premise, really looking forward to that game. Spilled is a game whose heart is in the right place on this stuff. But I will say that it's in the shallow end of the pool. It doesn't go into any depth. It doesn't really say anything except clean oceans are good. Other eco games have more subtle or deeper messages and create more impactful moments around that. But for a solo dev, first-time project made by one person on a houseboat, it would be very churlish of me to critique it too hard. But I do think that it is worth saying that eco games can have a little more depth to them if that is really a concern of the game maker. And I think there is no harm in going a little deeper into the eco thought side of things and into that environmental activations thinking. But that said, this is a really good little game. I'm not coming down on it too hard. I had a great time with it. It is enjoyable, it is pristine, it's neat, tidy, well conceived, well executed. You can play it in under 1 hour. It respects your time. You clean up the oceans, you feel good afterwards. So no complaints there really. This is a game that is perfect at what it does. It is $6. It is on Steam at a discount of $1 now, so you get it for $5. If you've got a Steam Deck, go and buy it immediately. I would say support this developer. Play it as a palate cleanser between two other big games. If you're coming down off something like Clair Obscur, then this will hit the spot for sure. It's slated for a release on all the major consoles, including Switch, and I think that this game will look lovely on that big Switch 2 screen. And you know what? Even if you're not a Steam Deck player, even if you've got a Steam account that you barely ever use, go contribute $5 to this woman. I think she's done a really incredible job with this game. Such a lovely story too. So that is Spilled. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you watched all the way here to the 10-minute mark, you might be the kind of person that would enjoy some of the behind-the-scenes content that you can unlock by joining the Patreon. It's at patreon.com/gaminginthewild. It's only $1 a month, up to 10 at the absolute maximum. There's a few tiers in between with various kinds of rewards, including invites to our patron-only Discord server, where we're about to do a big group project playing as many Steam Next Fest demos as we can to try and find the next great indie game. You also get access to a whole bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff like patron-only podcasts, like behind-the-scenes content creation and YouTubing chat as well. So there's a whole load of rewards there, and you get the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping me out to make more videos and podcasts for you. That's patreon.com/gaminginthewild. Come and join in. We've got 127 patrons. I'm pushing forward towards 150, and you could help me get there. Huge thanks as always to my boss tier patrons Shy Guy and King Champ. And I will finish by saying that Gaming in the Wild is also a weekly podcast, so if you enjoy these videos and you also enjoy podcasts, search for Gaming in the Wild on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get them, and you can find the weekly show too. And with that, let's wrap it up. Until the next one, take care of yourselves and each other, and bye-bye for now.